So, David, how do you feel that you're the first person of everyone, given it's a year last Monday that the Brereton Report was delivered, you're the first person dragged into court?
That is interesting. That is something which touches a chord wherever I go. They say, with all the things that went wrong, how is it that you're the first person facing trial and you're up against, it's not some minor offence. It's quite possible you could spend more time in jail than anybody who shot anybody in cold blood. But the second answer to that is to more your sophisticated audience and those who have really been following the Australian political landscape. And it goes to the heart of what's going on here, in that it's not actually surprising at all, because we have got to the stage where the governments are more concerned about secrecy than they are about crime.
So are you not surprised that you're going to trial?
I don't actually want them to stop the trials. It's never been my aim to avoid prosecution. In fact, I've actually, while it's obviously a relatively scary prospect and it involves a fair bit of human resources to get out of it, I've wanted them to put me on trial, because it's the only way we can get these issues ventilated. I think it would be a defeat and a backward step if they drop the charges, and because it just leaves them able to do the same thing to the next person that comes along. I tried the media, and while the ABC ran a story, which I'm very grateful for, and I think that started the ball rolling, it by no means solved the problem. It by no means. And so in order to solve the problem, we need a trial. In fact, we may need me to go to prison for people to say, have we lost our way in this world?
Right. So when I was a journalist, we relied heavily on whistleblowers for a number of stories, but the consequence for the whistleblower is it often destroyed lives, not only the person's livelihood and their mental state, but that of their families and often for the kids. You've obviously taken a much more aggressive position in the way you've been affected by being a whistleblower.
I wanted to treat it like my heroes from the Second World War, people in the prisoner of war camps holding their head up high, because if they make you look like you're on death's door, that's a victory for them, and because it's not so much just about you. They want to scare the next person, and they want to scare the person.
So if with this crusade that you've just described, what's the end game for you? What do you want out of it?
A better Australia. I want to fix the government.
But in terms of whistleblower legislation, I'm guessing that's what you're campaigning for, better legislation, so that in relation to whistleblowers, so that we get better journalism and better access for the public's right to know.
It's such a steep mountain to climb. Yes, obviously that will be great, better legislation, but we are so far from it. And the problem with legislation, and all these things are kind of circular, it's written by the very people who don't want good whistleblower protections. We need an independent kind of umpire to at least, stop whistleblowers being crushed. I don't think the politicians are ever going to do it on their own.
I just wonder, politicians that I've spoken to, not all, but some, have been very supportive of you. I'm just wondering whether it's the politicians that are the roadblock here or the security services.
Well, that's a sophisticated, assessment. That is true. I think, and again, this is something we need to fix. the security services seem to be running the country in that regard. In fact, our spies told us that even though Dreyfus, the Attorney General, wanted to drop the charges against Bernard Collaery, he couldn't. He wasn't able to do it originally, and there was pushback from the security services saying, "No, we need to make an example of this guy."
Yeah.
And
so this is one of the anomalies. The security services do what they do to protect democracy, but democracy in Australia relies on stronger protection of whistleblowers and press freedom and the public's right to know. So in that sense, the security services are shooting themselves and the country in the foot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's a beautiful summary, and that's what I tried to say. It always sticks in my throat when they, even when I've done a few radio interviews this week, and they say, "Oh, but surely you can't release classified information, and we've got to keep our secret. You're damaging national security." And I want to say that there's no greater damage to national security than security service that is run a law unto themselves and trample over certain laws and rights. And you'd be surprised, well, you wouldn't be surprised, but the average Australian will be surprised that there is no adult supervision of the security services. And they don't distinguish between genuine national security goals and political goals. Bernard Collaery and I are treated as if we are bombers trying to blow up the Harbour Bridge. And unless we need to have some sort of independent body to say, no, you can't use measures which are designed basically in a time of war for extreme circumstances against people who are just trying to put the truth out.
David McBride, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Peter.